Hello YouTube. Today we're talking about the Hattrick Youth Team, what to do when you get started and how to get to know more about your players in the easiest way possible. What tools do we use and how do we go about things with the youth team? So you're probably wondering, should I start a youth team, or you've probably started a youth team? If you've started the youth team already, excellent. It's just a way to manage your team way better than you can with the old school system. If you haven't, well, you should be, because as I said, you can micromanage stuff and you get to know your players a lot better. And what's better than knowing more about your players in Hattrick? One of the reasons why some people avoid the Hattrick Academy is because how complicated it feels to start gaining knowledge about a big bunch of players that you don't know anything about. Chances are these players won't be very useful to you anyway, but Hattrick Youth Club can help you play the youngest players in your youth team, the most relevant positions, quite easily. I'll show you now. Once you have registered with the Hattrick Youth Club, you want to synchronize your data, and you do so by logging in, and it will automatically synchronize your data. But if you haven't, so you can also do it manually by clicking here. Then you see that it collects data, and if Hattrick Youth Club detects that you have a new youth pool or you have a new match, it will prompt you to save the information within the system. Also, it will double check if you have the correct training set for the matches, as training happens when you play matches. But that's how you put your data into Hattrick Youth Club, by logging in and synchronizing automatically. That's pretty easy. Okay, so we have our new players in the youth team, and we want to test what these players are capable of in the easiest way possible. So we go to Hattrick Youth Club, and we go to the tools, and we go to the lineup help. In the lineup help, in this drop down menu, we will check the test position, and now we have to check what positions we want to use in the formation. I'll just go with a 3-5-2. Primary training here is defending, and the secondary training is passing for defenders and midfielders. This really doesn't matter because we don't know much about our players anyway. In fact, we don't know anything. When I press calculate test position lineup, it will find the youngest players in the primary training positions, meaning that it will put the youngest players in the defending positions, and then it will put the next youngest in the midfield position, because that is what the passing training will do. Here we go. It has calculated my lineup. With all this information, I can send my lineup to Hattrick, and we are ready to play our first game in the academy. The lineup tool is important in the beginning of the Hattrick Youth Team. As soon as you get to know more about your players and know what players to focus your training on, you will start disregarding this tool and just use the players that you know within the Hattrick system. But to start off with, finding out if there's any talent among your starting players, this is the way to go. Okay, let's imagine we pull a player with some talent. Let's use this player as an example. I pulled him with this information available: 15 years of age, passing capabilities around the weak level, and he can emerge with excellent defending before joining this senior squad. Obviously, we give this guy a youth contract. Now, what you want to is you want to stick this guy in defense, obviously, maybe even in the wingback position to see if there's some passing or anything, and then you look at the previous lineups and see if there's any one of your starting bunch of players that forms well as defenders. Are they also young? Yes. Line them up along with the new and start training those players. Okay, let's head back to the Hattrick player page here. If you use Foxtrick, the add-on extension for Hattrick, and you use Hattrick Youth Club, this is what the player page will look like. The coach will say something about a specialty if he notices a player has a certain specialty in a game. So does Hattrick Youth Club, and Youth Club is smart about this because it reads through all the match reports, and if a player has an unpredictable event, for instance, it will show that the player is unpredictable, because the player cannot produce such an event if he hasn't got the specialty. So if you look at this guy, we know that he's unpredictable, but we only know so because we use Hattrick Youth Club. So that's a very nice way to enhance the information page on your players. Also, you can see we get some added bar to the existing bar, so we can actually keep track of how far he is in this training just on the Hattrick main page, and that is just by synchronizing data through Hattrick Youth Club. This is what the player page looked like without all these things enabled. Let's go over the training speed calculator. So we are on the player page, that's the way I like to go about this, and we can see that it takes 6 trainings in defending in order to pop in this skill. But let's have a look, see how we can actually manipulate the calculator by clicking the calculator here. Alright, so it automatically uses the information we already know. So the skill level is 6.2, the age is set to 15 years and 95 days, maximum 8.0 because we cannot know that precisely, and he usually plays as a central defender. Let's just set it like this. Okay, so for now we are training defending as the primary training, and secondary training is passing for defenders and midfielders. Let's just calculate this. This is the current training. Alright, so it says that it will take 15 matches in order to go all the way from 6.2 to 8, which is his maximum. But we could be in a situation where we need to finish his defending skill as fast as possible. So let's just select defending as the secondary training as well. Now let's recalculate the training speed. Now we've learned that he will be able to finish his training in 11 matches rather than 15 matches if we use defending as both the primary and the secondary training. The training speeds of the primary training can be seen over here in the training speed. This is looking at playmaking and the midfielder position, and this is primary training in a league game. So this is factor 1. If you have a talent which is passable in making and he's 16 years old, it will take 6.96 games in order to gain all the training to pop to level 7. That's how we read this schedule. Let's have a look at defending just to see. Defending, 16 years of age, from 6 to 7, 7.42 matches worth of training in order to pop in that skill. Finally, I want to share some general tips about running your Hattrick Youth team. If you are all about training speed and producing the biggest talent possible, you want to play in 4-team leagues. The reason for this is, in 4-team leagues, you play 6 league matches and then the league ends. You play a league match every 7 days, 1 game a week. But whenever a league ends, you'll be able to join another league and play a match in a gap of just 2 days. So every time you finish a league, you can save 5 days and then get an extra match and get some more training. So every time you do this, you basically squeeze in more games into the calendar. Friendlies, you can play these every 3 weeks. Use these to check abilities or potentials rather in secondary skills, because a secondary training in a friendly is roughly 1/4 of the training of primary training in a league game. The final tip, if you are in doubt whether to focus training on one talent or the other, build around the biggest talent, because having a very talented player at the age of 17 years and 20 days and having the same player completely trained by the age of 17 and 3 days on the selling date is a major difference. There's such a huge drop-off in prices during the first few days of a player's career, so if you have a big talent, focus on him. There are more tools in Hattrick Youth Club than the ones shown in this video, but these are the ones I recommend using when you just start out with a new Hattrick Youth team. Other than that, I guess the only thing left to say is good luck with the Hattrick Youth team, and if you like the video, please like it and consider subscribing to the channel. Good luck!